with Patty had done it, I started thinking, oh my goodness, this is really something. And then I went back and realized that the live version, when I was mixing that live version, I remembered I'd always get choked up, and that's the honest to God's truth. There was something about the way the audience responded to the beginning of the piano, like he was just saying, and then as soon as I start singing, they start singing. And then when Neil would do his guitar thing, which sounds like I didn't even realize it 2 years later, and maybe he didn't know. Maybe it was subconsciously, but he started playing like ticka 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 ticka, almost like train tracks that you hear clicking across the seams of the tracks. I didn't realize. Does he know he did that? I didn't know he did that, but it seems like now, looking back, that's what it is. All those moments put together, and many other ones, by the way, kind of make it something that, we just followed our hearts and just did what we did, because, we were good together.
Speaking of this eternal quality that Steve Spears was just saying, that and the use of this song in so many places. I was even just thinking about the recent Stanley Cup hockey playoffs, and in Detroit, they still bang this out and cheer when it comes to that line about South Detroit.
Really?
Oh, for sure. You hear it at every game, when especially as the playoffs come. Don't Stop Believin' was used as well during that famous final scene of the last episode of The Sopranos in 2007. And I read that you held back granting permission for David Chase to use this song until you found out how it would be used. Tell me about that process.
Well, as songwriters, we all have to approve. John and Neil had approved. I wanted to know before I approved how it was used. So they were reluctant to tell me because they were afraid I was going to get out, that I would leak the ending to the world. And I promised them that I will not do that. But in good conscience, I need to know how it's used, because there was so much rumor that somebody was about to be whacked at the end of the season that I did not particularly want to have a sort of a Scorsese moment while the song's playing and somebody's getting completely gutted with an Uzi, I didn't want that. So because I'm kind of protective of the original emotion that I believe is in these tracks. So, that being said, I held out. And they said, literally, we'll tell you, but you can't tell nobody. And it was Thursday before the airing on Sunday. I finally got the word how it ends, play by play, moment by moment. And I said, okay. But they didn't tell me that it went to black.
Wow.
So, but that's okay, because I was sitting here, and when it went to black, I stood up and jumped off my couch and screamed, yeah. I thought it was the most amazing shock ending that, some people did think that their cable boxes had gone out.
So then the sales of the song rise by 482% after, in the next day. Did it feel like Christmas?
It was. This is another conversation. Our deal with Sony on downloads is not great. Oh. So I think I can buy probably something at Starbucks. But anyway, the long story short is...
You don't have a third of that song still?
No, but one of the things that did happen was that people did get interested in listening to and hearing more Journey music. And when I walked through the airport 3 days later on my way back east, it was unbelievable. It was like I was on tour in the 80s. People were giving me thumbs up, or some people walking up going, so what was the ending? What do you think happened? Is she dead? Is she alive? I said, I don't know.
Right.
They thought I had the inside scoop, you know.
I can't believe that you only agreed to that a couple of days before that iconic ending. That's amazing, yeah. So I want to play another clip from Steve Spears from the St. Petersburg Times, this big Journey fan, because we asked him about his perspective on the secret to this song's longevity and continued popularity. Here's what he had to say.
It's hard to believe that this song is 28 years old. It comes out in the beginning of the 80s, a different era in politics, a different era of music, and it has a very simple message. And some would say it's an American message, but I don't really buy into that. It's this idea. It's a very simple message that good things can happen to anybody if you just believe. And it sounds like a hokey message, but for some reason it's not. And people, generation after generation, keep hearing the song for the first time. It keeps reemerging on TV shows like Laguna Beach and The Sopranos in their famous last episode. And suddenly, boom, again, it's a top 10 hit on iTunes, and a whole other generation of people get to understand it. And now Fox has embraced it with Glee, and yet again, another set of fans gets to find out what Journey and Don't Stop Believing is all about.
That was Steve Spears, who writes the blog and podcast Stuck in the 90s. I'm speaking with Steve, Stuck in the 80s, rather. Stuck in the 90s is a song, another song. Well, why do you think the song is still so popular and continues to live on in movies and TV shows?
I think it has a lot to do with a lot of the music in the song. It isn't just the lyric. The lyric is a strong lyric about not giving up. But it's also about being young. It's also about hanging out, not giving up, and looking for that emotion hiding somewhere in the dark that we're all looking for. It's about having hope and not quitting when things get tough, because I'm telling you, things get tough for everybody. They get tough for me, they get tough for everybody. And only in my older age now has this song and other songs that I co-wrote and sang actually come to help me now. It's funny, because when you're in them, you write them because you write them for people. You want to give your feeling of hope to people. But when times have gotten tough for me, and believe me, they have, these songs have given me hope and helped me. And I had no idea that some of the songs I was involved in would come around and help me. I just, for some reason, my mom's been gone for many years, and she was the one who believed in me. And give me a second. She was the one who really believed in me and never wanted me to give up following my heart, because she knew since I was 7 years old that I wanted to be a singer. And she went up against all odds, including her upbringing with her parents, who thought it was one of the stupidest things she could do to her son. He should be a lawyer, a doctor, and at that time, a potential, I could have been a farmer of a large piece of property. She didn't think that was for me. She knew my father was a singer. They were no longer together, so she really struggled backing her son emotionally, who wanted to be a singer, when her husband wasn't there anymore. My father was a singer. There was conflicted things going on in her heart all the time. But I'm telling you, she believed in me. She never let me stop believing in myself. And if it wasn't for that, I just don't know in my heart if it would have even happened.
Sounds like this song still can emotionally affect you too.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that as I get older, I did not know. I was just following my heart when I was younger, but now this stuff is starting to help me. It's starting to give me hope when I need it.
It's amazing. Just telling people that you were going to come on the show, I've gotten so many messages from folks who are fans of yours, and a lot of people saying that they miss your voice out there, and certainly the guys from Family Guy can't seem to hit the notes, so...
That was the best. That was the best.
We need you. Hey, Steve Perry, it's such a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks for making the time and for sharing some special memories with us. And this song will keep on going, undoubtedly. So to be continued, sir.
Well, thank you so much. Let's do it again. This was fun.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Steve Perry, he was the lead vocalist for Journey from 1978 to 1987, and again from 1995 to 1998. He's currently working on solo material, but he is the man who co-wrote the song Don't Stop Believin' from the 1981 Journey album Escape. He was in Los Angeles, California.